Hey, welcome to the Essential Talks podcast. I'm Kimberly, your solo host today. Again, we're doing one-on-one interviews to help support and promote the fitness and wellness sector during these crazy times. Today, we have yet another amazing guest. This Russian powerhouse finished her law degree, then moved to Canada to start a family and found peace in practicing yoga, teaching worldwide studios, and became the co-founder and leading instructor for the Sea to Sky aerial which is the most comprehensive aerial training in the world, correct? She's here today to talk business and how she has pivoted during these crazy, crazy times. Oxana, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you so much for having me over here. That's
Yes.
exciting. So I feel a little bit nervous, but I'm gonna feel like I'm excited instead of being nervous. So
Yeah, that's how you have to look at it, right? That it's
yeah.
excitement and no reason to be nervous. It's just it's going to be such an open and fun conversation, and your chance to tell your story. And I look forward to learning a little bit more about you too. Before we dive into the questions, we can start off with just why don't you tell us a little bit how you grew up in Russia, your childhood, early teens, early adult, everything that kind of I guess kind of just formed the way you are and helped you become the woman you are today.
It's interesting, everybody asks me that question, right? How did you grow up? Like tell us how did you grow up in Russia? I tell you what, it was awesome. I look at my kids now and I'm like, oh, I wish you had my childhood because it was more exciting than it is right now. But I was one of those generation that we went from dictator government to communism government, and then from communism to democracy. So we were this generation that pivot through a lot of changes that affected my family, affected how we were raised, and of course it affected our mindset as well. Tell you to be honest, my childhood, I loved everything about it. Most of the time we were pretty much on our own. We had set of responsibilities that our parents had expectations to complete, but we were raised pretty much on our own. Parents were busy working all the time, and dropped off a whole summer at the grandparents' village, where we had to work and help out. It was 20 acres of land and gardens and everything. So we were if we weren't at school or doing sports, we were helping parents or grandparents. So there's a lot of determination, there's a lot of work ethic, a lot of devotion. So we learned from that time.
Hardworking family, it sounds like. That's awesome. What drove you to, I guess, you came to Canada. What drove you to officially start your business and get into business?
So I came to Canada. I started a family here. So I had my two children. I had a law degree, and I was kind of deciding about what should I do, right? Should I go back to law school or? And so I was in a car accident. I was in a car accident. I was hit from behind, and I had a spinal injury. I had a concussion. I had a soft tissue injuries. It took me time to recover, but my recovery was never really a perfect recovery because as the time went by, I had an ache showing in my body here, popping up here. So none of the chiropractors were helping. None of the physio was really working. So I decided, that I'm going to try hot yoga because I heard that it's quite healing. So I took my first yoga class and I absolutely hated it. Like, I was like, what kind of yoga is this? The teacher is yelling at me. The lights are on. It's hot and everybody's stinky and sweaty. I said, I'm getting hell out of here. That was my first experience of hot yoga. It
Yeah.
took me 18 months to come back for my second class. So I remember one morning I was having a coffee and I was just before going out on the tennis court to play tennis with my friend. And my whole right side completely just became numb. So I had a nerve damage in my neck and then, caused all the way down into my hand. So I couldn't even lift my coffee cup. So it just happened like that, right? And I couldn't believe. So I said, you know what? I'm going to drag myself into that hot room and I'm just going to lay there if I have to. And I'm just going to try to heal myself. And that's how my yoga journey started. So kids still small and, small children. So it's kind of hard to leave them, right? To do any training or anything. So then I decided kids grew up a little bit, I moved my parents to Canada, and I said, hey guys, I'm going to go for teacher training. So I left to LA for 9 weeks. I did my hot yoga teacher training at the Bikram school, and I came back, and I've been 2015. So since that, I'm teaching for full time. Going into business, I always wanted to have my own studio. Always wanted to give to community. I'm still very passionate about it. So opportunity came around, and I had people who believed in me, who helped me to create all this space, and here I am today. We had no idea. Okay, and this is, guys, you don't know, right? We opened up during pandemic. Our opening date was May 29th, 2020.
Wow. Literally after this, a couple months after this all began.
Yes. Yeah. So the original date was, to open up May 1st. And then when we took the lease and signed a lease, and that happened in February, and in March, lockdown happened.
Wow. Yeah, I know myself. I was just 8 weeks prior too. So shortly, all within this, it's been quite the transitioning for sure. How have you found your clientele attitude, demeanor as you started opening compared to how it is now? How has it been throughout the last couple years?
Well, every time I feel like government allow us to operate, we have this 3 months, there's like, if you look at the closures, there are like 3-4 months between. So we have this great energy going, right? Because reopening, this is what, just from my experience, reopening after closing is actually much harder, much more financially harder than actually just to open a studio from scratch.
Yeah.
It's much harder. So every time I felt like, we just picking up, like it's kind of like you sprinting, or let's say you're running a marathon and you see this home stretch, and you like trying to pick up the speed, and you're trying to go at the fullest, and then the road block you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sorry, you can operate. And this is how our journey has been. We just picking up, then they stop us. Then we just, dumped another $10,000 in reopening and expenses in marketing, and then they block us again and again and again. It's frustrating. It hurts. And right now it's at the point, it's like enough is enough, I guess,
Yeah. Yeah. And when did you get to that point? Is it more like this lockdown that with the fitness sectors closing? Is that when you were just like, we can't do this anymore?
Exactly.
Okay.
So this was, before Christmas time, right? This is our busiest time of the year. That's when people, want to go on vacation, come back. They want to get back in shape. They're looking after their diets and stuff. So it's a busiest time for fitness studios and yoga studios. December, it's miserable outside. They want to be inside in a warm room. And, again, we just had so many marketing campaigns running. We opened up second location in October, end of October. And this happened again. So my teachers, my staff did not get paid because of this. I had people who could not buy food for Christmas, and people who had to put pretty much their whole life on hold because they didn't get paid. And I had 32 employees, and they're like, okay, what are we doing here now? What's going to happen, right? So it hit really hard this time.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else we kind of were able to manage, hey, it's okay, we understand. But what we're looking around right now, and it's like, this is the flu. We're going to shut everything down because of flu.
Yeah.
Nothing makes sense anymore. It's been almost 2 years. Nothing makes sense anymore.
Yeah. I like to say it never has made sense, but yeah, I think everyone's getting to their point, right? Of enough is enough. Yeah. Let's dive a little bit deeper into, because you have been, I guess, complying to the best you can, and you have yet to really shut down. So my questions are going to be altered a little bit for you. Let's dive into what exactly you do at the yoga bar. I know you do a variety of fitness classes and even online. If you can go into that a little bit, and how people have been supporting you since you've been open.
So, because we opened during COVID, right? My previous experience, it was always teaching in the classroom and interact with the bodies, right? So during the last 2 years, we learned some skills that I thought in my life I'm never going to be able to achieve or to learn. It's, teaching online, recording for app on demand. We were teaching in the tent in one of my students' yard in the spring when they shut us down, with the fireplace inside. So we can, we were teaching on the beach. We were teaching live stream on Instagram for free for community. Anybody can join. Like, we came up with so many crazy ideas just to stay alive during this time. So, the business model was always, we wanted to offer people one membership in one place. So where we combined everything that they need for mental and physical health. So we have a spin room, amazing spin room. We have all kind of fitness classes, weight training, low endurance, high intensity training. We teach bar. We teach all sort of yoga classes. And again, we thought, what? This is not quite enough because of the mental health and issues, because we interact with our students every time. And the problem, we added a nidra yoga, we added a sound bath events. So we added a trigger point classes so people can really, come in and just heal. And this is sometimes not even about coming and taking the class. This is the therapy. Mm-hmm. For so many people who come in. This is the therapy. This is no any different than going to a chiropractor, physio, or psychiatrist. This is no any different. And this is how, I'm getting a little bit overwhelmed because I feel angry. I really do feel angry because so many people reaching out to me and saying that I'm not doing well emotionally, right? They all reaching out, they telling me about their problems and their issues. And, you have so we, as the yoga teachers, we wear different hats all the time. We are like a nurse, we're like a psychiatrist, we're like a psychologist, we're like a counselor, we just a friend, that people can come in and dump everything here. And I always say, sweat it out. I'll come with the mop. I'll wipe it out. Leave it here, leave it in a room, you all out. And then please just go home, refreshed and re-energized, right? So that's kind of the goal. But yeah, we added a lot of classes just to help people to cope with mental health.
And I find that's even more severe and important these days than physical health. I mean, obviously, physical health is always important, and so is mental health been. But I feel like now more than ever, people are more open to talking about it, and that's great. It's able to cause a great discussion between people, and people are openly talking about struggling with mental health. And I think that was a little bit taboo many years ago. So it's obvious that everyone is struggling with mental health right now. So thank you for everything you're doing and things you are offering. I know you are in White Rock. Can you tell us where your other location is, just for people who don't know where you're located?
Yes, our second location in Yaletown in Vancouver, and it's located on 1050 Homer Street.
And you have a lovely ocean view.
That's in White Rock. Yes, we do.
It's stunning. I've only seen one of your videos, but I was just like, what? Who wouldn't want to work here and be here? So
yeah, it is really beautiful. The energy is amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. So I know you've spoken a little bit on your social media, taking a stand as of late. What's been the feedback that you're getting from clients? How are they feeling about you? I guess getting to this point of enough is enough, and we're going to do our best to stay open for everyone.
To be honest, I have not had any single client who came in and said to me, don't do it. No, not a single client, not a single person who came or sent me a message. And we received tons of messages. I was behind, reading all the DMs. None. People were saying, hey, don't get yourself in trouble. Be careful. But none of them said, don't do it. Messages like, thank you for being determined. Thank you for standing up. Thank you for being brave. Thank you for standing up for us and speaking for us. We're proud of you. Those are the messages we were receiving. I have not received any single message where, we'll be against or anything. That what we stand for.
That's amazing. And how long would you say you are able to survive at this rate if this continues to go? I mean, every business is struggling to some capacity. How much longer can you guys do this?
We won't survive. If we don't reopen, we're done. We won't be back. It's just impossible, because what happened, from the previous 2 years, right? It's like a snowball, right? So it's a very, starts little, and then it rolls. So right now it's bigger than me. So still not bigger than our hopes though, and our determination and our courage. So
yeah. And what are your plans moving forward with being able to pivot a little bit in business and get through this? Your plans are to stay open now?
we are reopening on the 19th, regardless of what the PHO is going to say. It's going to be plan, we have two plans, plan A, plan B. So plan A is if they're going to allow us to reopen, then we will just go with the regular schedule. If they're going to say no, fitness studios and yoga studios still need to be shut down, we are going to reopen with low intensity classes, yoga classes to help people to cope with mental illness, mental health. And we're just going to have probably less classes on the schedule. So usually we about 8 to 10 classes per day. So we will just probably run 5 classes per day to help people to cope with it. But we will be open regardless.
Good for you. Good for you for taking a stand. And you have so many businesses that are here to support you and stand with you through We Are All Essential as well. Your motto, I have it written here: speak your truth, even when your voice is shaking. Live in your heart, not in your head. Speak on that a little bit. Is that obviously very time appropriate right now, but tell us about that.
Well, what we see here, right? We see a lot of fear, right? Everybody is full of fear, right? And media is doing a great job. Our government doing a great job. I always say, turn TV off, COVID will be gone.
Right.
I look at my Russian friends, how they live in Russia. Yes, they have a lot of cases, but they're living their life at the fullest. They're like, well, that's not the scariest thing we ever had to go through, which is really true, right? So I look at them and I'm like, I look at here in Canada and I'm, every second day I go into my drawer and I look at my Russian passport and I'm like, is this the time to go back yet? Is this the time to go back yet? So this is what's going through my head, right? A lot of fear, and fear is the opposite of love.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a choice to be love, or you have a choice to live in fear, right? So it's not going to serve you if you're living in fear. It creates anxiety. And I've seen people, and I've seen my staff working here who will come in and leave after 2 weeks or after 3 weeks. I've seen what COVID creates in their head. I've seen people, my students, who will be paranoid of COVID, and then eventually they educated themselves enough and, hey, listen, that's not scariest thing. And then eventually they grew out of it, It's kind of like a teenagers, that kind of, a toddler stage, I guess. So I've seen them turning it around. So it's internal work. You need to understand that, first of all, knowledge is very powerful. Read, educate yourself. Don't trust everything that people say, educate yourself. Everything that you consume, all the information, you don't have to receive it and stay with it. You have to choose and pick what aligns with who you are and what you believe in, right? So I think COVID is the great opportunity to really look deep into ourselves and say, what can I do to be a better version of myself? How can I turn this for the positive? What can I do with it, right? And I look back and, COVID taught us a lot of great skills. I was talking to my staff yesterday, and she mentioned to me, she said, she goes, I'm really living in the present moment right now, because I can't plan anything for the future, because I don't know how future is going to go. I am living in now. And, this is exactly what we preach, yeah, right? When you're living in a fifth dimension, and majority of people living in a third dimension, if it's at the best. So when you're living in the fifth dimension, you are in now. There's no yesterday. There's no tomorrow. You're living in now. And this is what, you wake up every morning, be grateful for waking up, be grateful that you have a roof over your head, that you have a people to support you, you have a food on your table, and just ask yourself, what can you do today to become a better person, better version of yourself than you were yesterday? And, you have to know deeply inside who you are and connect to your core. When you have that connection to your core and you know who you are, everybody's opinion about you is irrelevant. It doesn't really matter anymore. You had one of those questions in the email saying, how you going to feel if people going to judge you, right, for not following mandates. Actually, you know what? I really don't care, because I'm so deeply connected to my core. I know deeply who I am and what I stand for, that people who is going to come in and say that, or judge me, this is just a noise. You're going to be judged no matter what you do. Good things or bad things, it doesn't really matter. So, but when you leave deeply, when you leave, to who you are, and everything is aligned, there are several bodies in our body. There's a physical body, there's a mind, there's the feelings, emotions, there's your heart. When everything is aligned and you serve with the purpose, and purpose is the highest frequency and love is the highest frequency, all this noise just roll off you. It doesn't really matter. So you speak your truth. And this has been a moment where it's like, okay, this is the time when you can just really just say, you know what, here I am. I'm going to show up. I'm going to show up for my stuff. I'm going to show up for my people. If some other businesses want to take a lead and follow, fantastic. But, don't live in fear, because it's just, live in love, live with the love, be the love, right? Because that's the only way.
Chill bumps. That was amazing. Thank you. And you're right. Life is about polarities, right? So the opposite of love is fear, and people don't realize that. That was beautifully said. Thank you so much. What would you say your future self, or how would your future self respond to the stance you're taking during this time? I'm sure they'd be proud, but fast forward, 5, 10, even 20 years, you have children as well. How would you explain this time to them and what you're doing?
Well, my kids quite big enough. So my kids are 16 and 14. They watched very closely my growth. They watch me very close as the mom, business mom, right? They understand a lot. They're very, very, very clever kids. I always tell them that you have to speak your truth no matter what. I always ask my kids, if they come into me with the question, hey mom, what should I do here? I always say, this is not the question you should be asking me. This is the question you should be asking yourself. What do you feel like doing? What is right for your heart? Right? And it's always go back to that, hey mom, what are you going to do? Are you going to reopen? Yes, I'm going to reopen. Say, listen, I'm going into the war zone, boys. I need some help here. I need you to look after dog. I need you to take a dishwasher out, to unload the dishwasher out. I need your help because I'm going into the war zone. Okay, mom, we got it. They come to me and they say, hey, mom, we're proud of you. Youngest one is still, not quite connected to everything, but, oldest one is almost 17. So he understands the things, and he sees how hard I work. I'm hardly ever home. If I'm home, I'm usually, I'm giving him a kiss. I'm talking for 30 minutes with him, and I go straight to bed because I'm exhausted on most of the days. When you're a business owner, I hate when people ask you these questions. How's your weekend is going? What's the plans for weekend?
What's a weekend? What does that mean?
And I'm like, I don't have weekends. But you know what? But it's okay. It's okay. I'm riding a wave. I'm riding the wave of the passion, right? So I'm okay with that. I'm not complaining. But, it's like, why do people have to, drink on Friday night? Why didn't you just go out on Tuesday night? Like, we set ourselves into the box. We created a time, we created the days of the weeks, and we set ourselves into the box, and we like trying to live in the box. No, I don't have that. So I'm outside of the box. If I feel like drinking with my friends or having, seeing my friends, doesn't matter. It's a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I don't care. So if I want to do something, which you have to be balanced, right? I'm going to do it not on the weekend. I'm going to do it during the week if I feel like doing it, right? And this is kind of what I always tell my boys, that, you have to be true to yourself. All your bodies have to be aligned with who you are. It's not just your words, but it's your feelings, it's your emotions, it's what you speak, it's what you preach. And the most important for me, I always like kids teaching you to like, you have to lead by example. You have to lead by example. And I always tell my boys, I just want to be a best version of myself. So, because, it doesn't matter what you tell the children, it's who you are. That's where the most learning coming from.
Be an example.
Yes, it's a being example. And that's where they picking, and sometimes they come to me and they say some like stuff and I'm like, oh my gosh, like they're watching. They're really watching. And they are very energy, right? They are not in that kind of mindset or so much fear in their heads like us adults, right? As we grow older, ego, there's more ego because ego protects us. There's more overthinking, just because we're scared sometimes. So kids are like animals, they have very energy, right? So the moment I will come in, they feel my energy. Hey mom, what's happening today, right? Well, this and that. Hey mom, I love you, you're doing a great job. So it's, you have to be a best for them. And like we want to fight for their freedom. I don't want them to be in communism country like I was in communism country. And this is even worse right now. What's happening is here is actually even worse. And when I tell this Canadian friends, they're like, oh, what? I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding.
Our
This
founder,
is
Vlad, says the same thing. It's worse now than it was when he was growing up as well.
exactly. So the mind shift that is happening, and I look at this, and this feels more like a psychological abuse.
Yeah.
This is the toxic relationship, and this feels psychological abuse. And I can relate to it because I actually had to go recover in a PTSD counseling for 3 years, being in psychologically abusing relationship. So I can relate to it very easily. I recognize there's the patterns of behavior. It's everything is like, whoa, that's why it's important to stay connected to your core, connected to the core. So they cannot tell us who we are. And that's why, I believe this, that they targeted fitness and yoga studios. Do you know why? And this is what I believe, okay? Because we are so connected deeply to who we are. We are very hard people to manipulate, and this is the hardest job ever for them because we do fitness. We healthy people. We take care of ourselves, not just physically, but mentally, right? We connected. And their job is just to destroy us in a different ways. So as long as we stay strong and connected to who we are, like I said, everything is going to be a noise and it's just going to roll off you. It doesn't matter.
And there's more of us. It's power in numbers, right? So, did you touched on a little bit of a dark past. I think we've all had that. But with growing up in Russia too, did you see this all happening because you were raised in it? Did you know what was happening even like back in March, like early on, or was it like over time you're like, okay, I see what's going on here?
Oh, right away.
Yeah.
And if, we're talking about this and I got this goosebumps in my body right now all over. So it's a trauma response. This is, I like my body is feeling it right now, right? Because the body doesn't recognize the time, it's emotion, right?
Yeah.
So when we talk about it, my body responds to it. Yes, so I'll tell you a very interesting thing. Growing up in a communism country, right? There was no food. There was no food in the stores, right? You will get a ticket. You will go into the line after school. You will stand in the line number 327 to buy buckwheat, for example. And then you're lucky if the store closes and you get, to purchase it. If not, then you just come back. Tomorrow you're number 200, right? That's how it was. So the shelves were empty. So when the closure happened and everybody started running and buying everything off the shelves, I just remember that reaction in my body. It was that huge rock sitting down my throat. And I couldn't believe what people were doing. I was like, there's absolutely no way we will ever run out of toilet paper or any grocery supplies. What the hell are you doing, people? But people, you also need to understand that because they never had that experience growing up with no food on the shelves. They don't understand that, right? Oh, how come I'm not going to make my, spaghetti for dinner, right? With the sauce tonight. Well, sometimes you just had to eat the bread and the salt on top of it. And that's how we grew up. So,
yeah.
It's like, yeah. And I was joking with my children all the time and I go, guys, don't worry. If we don't have a toilet paper, there's so many trees out there, there's so many plants. I'm like, come on, guys.
It's crazy.
Right? So,
yeah.
I was joking about it, but I was shocked. I couldn't believe that people actually, this is the fear. This is the fear. So during those times when people were buying everything off the shelves, I never went shopping. I couldn't stand it. I remember one time I walked in and I walked out because I couldn't stand it. The energy, and we are yoga teachers. We are very connected to the energy. I couldn't stand the energy. It was a fear, and the like just watching them having those cars full of stuff, and I was like, what is happening here, right? Brainwash. Hello. So right away, no, I knew right away that it wasn't right. Something was, and it was bringing that trauma from the childhood, going like, okay, this is not right. This is not okay. There's something more is happening. So that was kind of my first reaction, and then because hope is a great thing to always have. Faith, right? I don't like word really hope, but I like faith. And you always have this faith that in our government, you have a faith in, okay, you give them a benefits of doubts. Okay, COVID, yes, there's virus, there's a people dying. You have to be compassionate about it. So you try to understand where they're coming from. You try to be in their shoes for a little bit, just to kind of understand their actions and their, why they're doing what they're doing, right? So there's that kind of balance where you're sitting on it. You're not on that side. You're not picking anybody's sides, because you're so connected to your core. You only take and observe what feels right to you. So watching, what they were doing, it was, in the beginning, it was okay. I understand. But then, then things really, when you start reading, when you get off the stream media and you start reading things and you start understanding a little bit more and educate, take your time, you start having the questions. Every time you come with some legitimate question, they don't answer that question. You're like, whoa, okay, what's happening here? So yes, and right now, I'm being honest, watching what's happening in Quebec, watching what's happening in Ontario, my heart aches. This is, in my life, we went through, like I said, dictators, government. I seen my grandma, hiding icons in her cellar just to hide it away from the government, because we weren't allowed to have any religion. I seen my mom had to baptize me in the house with all the blinds closed down. There was no people, there was no celebration, okay, because we were not allowed to believe in God. There was no religion. We were a communism country, right? All the churches were burned down. So what's happening right now is actually worse. The things and how human being is being treated, it breaks my heart. It's devastating. It breaks my heart. It makes me sad. It makes me scary for my children.
Yeah, absolutely. It's concerning for sure. What would be your best advice for other gyms, fitness, wellness, business owners who want to open and just haven't yet?
Your passion and your drive for purpose, to serve the purpose, your purpose, because you've all been chosen. You all love what you do. I know that, because I am same. Has to be much greater than the fear. It has to be much greater than the fear. So when you dwell on serving, things are going to come to you because it's a right frequency. This is what you're going to attract. You might be scared to move, to take a step, but your drive for your passion and for your purpose has to be greater than the fear. And it only takes one baby step. It doesn't have to be a jump. It's a one tiny little baby step that you have to take.
Yeah, perfectly said. Absolutely. Where can people find you? Just kind of go over your socials quickly, just as we wrap up here.
So we are on Facebook, the Yoga Bar White Rock, the Yoga Bar Yaletown, social media, Instagram account. It's same, the Yoga Bar White Rock, the Yoga Bar Yaletown, 2 locations here. So Website www.theyogabar.com. We have all information there about all the trainings and all the classes. So we're just gonna put up the new schedule very soon. We're excited to reopen.
Awesome. Anything like that you can share anything upcoming that you want people to know about, or how you plan on moving forward during this time?
Support us if you like, sign up for our app. We will kick your ass over there. App on demand, the yoga bar on demand. Stay healthy, keep moving. It doesn't matter what studio you go. It doesn't matter what business you support, me or somebody else. It doesn't matter. Please go support small businesses. We really need your help. It's very hard to ask for help, but we need your help. Without you, there will be no us. We are connected. Please move your body. Move your body. Doesn't matter what you do, move your body. It's really important. Stay mentally, take care of your mental health. Always remember to fill up your cup first, because you're the priority. You are the biggest investment you will ever make in your life. Invest in yourself.
I love you saying that, because we can't be of service to anyone if we don't first take care of ourselves, right? So beautifully said. Oxana, thank you so much for this. I appreciate your time, and thank you and bless you for taking a stand and being strong and getting through this. We all get through it. We will get through it. And we are all essential. Check out our directory, www.weareallessential.ca. We are looking for volunteers. You don't even need to have a special gift or talent. We're looking for anyone who's just willing to learn and help out. We don't want our volunteers to burn out, so any help would be much appreciated. Please reach out. And thanks for being here again, Oxana, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you so much for being there for us and giving us opportunity to learn a little bit more. And thank you for your support, guys, because it means a lot. In these times, it really means a lot. Thank you for being here for us. We appreciate your time, your effort, and everything you put into that. Thank you.
Absolutely, our pleasure. Have a good day, hun.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.